Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is LolaAjisafe if you haven't been here before. Before we start, remember to like, make a comment and subscribe. So what are we doing today? Ready to Love. This is the reunion episode. It's meant to be the big slammy episode where we get closure on everything, but we don't get the closure we need because this is just part one. They split all the fun up into two pieces. So let's go straight into it. So first thing that happens is, you've got the four remaining couples. Well, three. The fourth is they're just sitting there together. They're not a couple. We've got four remaining couples left, and so nephew Tommy introduces everyone. And what does he do? I don't know if those are undertones, but he starts with his favorite couple. That's just my story, and I'm sticking to it. So he turns to Liz and Jason, and his first question was, what made you guys sign up for this? Simple question, simple answer. I think Liz had already said sometime, in the very first step prior, I guess maybe I think it was the introduction episode where she said she'd been single for 17 years or been in situationships, but not really been in a relationship that she can acknowledge, wanted to try something different. Jason, similar story, meeting the same type of woman, wanted to try something different. This is just my opinion. He would let us know who his favorites were. That's why he started. Then he goes on to speak, quick chat with, KG and Amber, the second couple. And he's like, I guess with KG being, this is his second time or second season. So he's kind of asking questions about, when were you drawn or when did you find a connection, to Amber? He says it started from the brunch. That's kind of early, I don't know, but if I remember correctly, let me tell you what I remember from the brunch. They were sitting outside. My good sis was talking about she like 50-50. I'm just saying, when he heard that 50-50, the bells went off. And then of course, what things did he like about, he asked her what kind of things did he like. He's like, she's genuine and she's, they have great communication. Okay, all right. And so now he's getting into meat potato. He brought up, they play the Kyra packets, all the scenes with, I guess the super scene showing Kyra. And immediately they kind of, pan to Alexis, who was talking about how she felt that because Kyra was an attorney, she was playing chess and Monopoly and manipulating the guys, and talking about how did, in that, gentleman's lounge, how did all four guys just go for Kyra at the same time? Now, Alexis, the responsibility or the blame, whichever you want to call it, doesn't go to Kyra. She didn't orchestrate it, she wasn't there. And even when she was playing invisible Monopoly, it's on them to be allowed to be monopolized or to be manipulated. So the blame is nothing to do with Kyra. So my good sis Alexis, I just hope you're backsliding. Whatever you have against Kyra, this is not it. You're barking up the wrong tree. Actually bringing them boys to the yard wasn't really her doing. She wasn't even there, so it was the guys. So, and then he goes on to talk about how they're about to rename the show. Never tell me no. Stop. It was not about to be, Return to Love Kyra edition. This was just, just what it is. If there was any fault or anything wrong with that situation, it really lay with the guys. And I think there was one key thing that occurred. I don't know who said that, where I think it was Alexis who said that she felt like maybe Kyra was playing to get to the end. Now that may be accurate, because her saying yes to AJ when she really meant no, when she was trying to get to the end. I'm just saying, I don't know if she needed the money or she just wanted some extra exposure. I don't know. Is she pining for a judge show? I don't know. But I think at that instant, that's when it kind of occurred to me that you didn't really need to stay. You stayed, but for reasons other than what the show was about. So now he decides to cut to a packet where they're showing the two guys who were cut from day one before the end of the day. And we know this was Christian and this was Khaleel. What do we have to update on Christian? He still looks nice, like a nice young man, still very gentle. He lets us know that he's been talking to someone on the show. Not dating, talking. Turns out it's Andrea. Side. Andrea looked gorgeous. This show is not for everyone, which is why Christian was the first to go, and probably why Andrea, I think, was she the first female to go, because this show is not for everyone. But I guess it's emphasized in this instance because Christian, we know, handsome young man, probably has great values, probably very respectful, shy has never been a bad thing, in dating, but it didn't work on this show because you're meant to be, maybe, I don't know what you're meant to be here, but it didn't work for him. And then of course, Andrea, beautiful woman, looked like she's sensible with her head on her shoulders. but she gets cut early too. But when you see her today, she was gorgeous. Anyway, long and short of the story, let me get back on track. You know, they let her know they were talking, so they convince him and push him and prop him up to ask her on a date. She says yes. Now, I don't know if she said yes because she wanted to spare him the embarrassment, or she's really interested. We will never know, or we might find out later. If they end up still dating, then maybe she didn't feel pressured or feel sorry for him. Maybe she was just waiting for him to ask the question. Yeah, it probably wasn't a natural way to ask, but it happened. Now we're moving on to Khaleel. Khaleel looking sharp, wearing a nice suit. Like, he left his PTA uniform at home today. He wearing burgundy suit, looking nice. Sitting right, like, I think he had a haircut too. I don't know, but he looked a lot better. But, you know, the Khaleel we know, that we've seen on Little Black Book, he didn't show up today. I'm sorry. He came in like, you know, tumbling over his toes and his thumbs, because he let it be known that he and Ida had been seeing, dating, whatever it is. He and Ida had been doing some things behind the scene. Ida, my girl, I've always liked Ida. She didn't last very long either. Beautiful woman. See, I want to say that they had a lot of beautiful women on the show. Andrea, gorgeous. Ida, gorgeous. You can say anything, but you can't say these women are not beautiful. So anyway, he gets talking that they've been talking. She did say something about, he had mentioned to her that she shouldn't bring it up, that they should wait for the reunion. Had like an awkward situation there, so I don't know how long this little thing they have going on will last. Let's see how this goes on, because I believe reunion episodes are usually recorded a long time ago, so they're probably not together right now. I'm just guessing. But anyway, a little awkward situation there when he decided to disclose to the world that he and Ida were seeing or talking or whatever it is. But I think that didn't last very long after that. I don't know. All right, going on to another big packet. Did you do the wrong packet? Yeah, it ain't showing him in a great light at all. He looked like a jerk. And it now probably explains to me why he has, you know, he'd done a lot of interviews. And in the interviews, he came across as, you know, a little chatty, but, you know, seemed like a fun, okay guy. He seemed okay. He seemed a little disgruntled by certain things, upset by certain things, but came across all the interviews I saw. You know, he did quite a few interviews and he looked okay. But this explains probably why he was doing the interview, because maybe he realizes or was told that he didn't come across, at least this part one, he didn't carry over looking nice at all. He came across looking like an A. So yeah, so they start with, you know, him being accountable for his behavior. So first of all, let's start with the scene where the elimination date he had with Alexis. He says, you know, I thought you would, that phrase, I thought you were smarter than that, is like transcended through all the episodes. He said he was referring to that when he was talking about that. It's not complimentary any way you describe it, but he said he was describing that when he felt that she'd been taken advantage of by AJ. Maybe not taken advantage of, but he'd just been playing her in a corner, just playing her. And like, he's like, can't you see he's playing you? Okay, I get that, but yeah, both by editing and both the way Andrea stayed, everyone's not taking it well for him at all. So and I feel he's also a little miffed by the fact that Andrea really was feeling AJ. Like, you know, Ron is no dummy. And so I guess he figured out that he'd been calling her his number one while she'd been playing it, you know, playing out in the yard. Yeah, the kiss and tell. Now, I know I discussed in episodes prior when this kiss and tell thing came out that, in my opinion, he was playing Amber and Alexis against each other. And what I mean by that, I felt like he was just saying that I felt like he was just using Amber to get back at Alexis. I didn't quite say why, but looking at it now, because he said something to that effect of, well, you know, she didn't tell me when she kissed AJ. So he was playing like he was playing in the schoolyard, you know, knew there was something going on between her and AJ, or they'd kissed on whatever the case may be, knew that, and decided he would get, you know, payback by kissing Amber because he knew that she and Amber were close. Boys do that. Yeah, they do that. Even when they're grown men, they do that. So it's apparent that, you know, Amber was revenge. Did Amber know she was revenge? I don't know, but Amber apparently isn't checking for him either. He goes on to talk about, yeah, but I guess he's trying to support his decision by, you know, filling it in with fillers that, yeah, you know, Amber and I went on several dates. Amber, like, several dates? Turn out several dates turned to one date. That one date where, you know, she'd been accused of being a Judas. I don't know. Where you know, it's been said as Amber is like the female Troy. Yeah, I don't know about all that. But I hope Amber can see now that she was merely just a weapon to use against her friend Alexis. So she wasn't the main target. Alexis was the target. Chrysanthemum was one of his faves. And it turns out that Chrysanthemum met his mother. And he trying to play it down. Alexis is like, I don't know what leg Alexis has to stand on that she's mad. Because she don't want Ron. So why are you mad that he took Chrysanthemum to meet his mother? Girl, fall back. Play it cool. You need to learn how to play it cool. But you can only be yourself. You know how to play this cool. You look beautiful, Alexis. You look beautiful. You look beautiful. You're a beautiful woman. Like I said, most of the females on this panel are beautiful. But she didn't play it cool. So she turns to Chrysanthemum she turns to Ron first. She's like, yeah, you took her to meet your mother. That's an important thing. And then, of course, Ron was trying to play it down. I don't know if he really meant I still feel like Chrysanthemum was probably more suited for him. It looks like they probably didn't continue what they had. And maybe that's why he kind of liked her and took her to his mother. Or maybe he wanted his mother to check her out. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think he's playing it down more. I think it was more important at the time, but he's playing it down now. Chrysanthemum's not amused either way, but Chrysanthemum's playing it cool. Like, she don't give three. She has nothing left to give. So she said, yeah, whatever. And then Alexis has this little fake, I'm sorry, Chrysanthemum. Alexis, stop it. Because Chrysanthemum was the target of many of your darts or little, those blank bullets weeks back or maybe in episodes back because it's almost been a year. So don't play that, oh, I'm sorry you went through that. You know his mother, you know his sister, what are you apologizing for? She can handle her own because she came out just looking like crisp and just like composed, unbothered. That's it. You see that, Alexis? See how unbothered Chrysanthemum looks? That's what you need to be doing. You need to cut. You should have. You already played part one kind of hot. You should have come into, part one of the reunion episode being unbothered. Just like this. And just look at him. And look. Just, not you doing too much. And it wasn't even your body language, just what you were saying. But once again, we can only play ourselves. So she's going to need some, I don't want to call it growing, but she's going to need something else. Because sometimes being unbothered works better than being aggravated, both for you and the person you're trying to get, because they're looking like, huh? They feel confused. So, oh yeah, then they had a little cut to scene where they show, I guess in between one of the breaks, where they show Ron and Jason talking, and then Ron should have played it on Brother too, but maybe so anyway, Ron's talking to Jason, and he's talking about, yeah, Alexis cheating on me with AJ. Bruh, it was a dating show, a game show. Like, how is she cheating on you? That's what she meant to be doing. She meant to be dating everyone that gives her a date till she narrows it down. So anyway, Jason's looking at him like, you know what? Why don't you cop to your stuff and leave the rest alone? Good looking out, Jason. That's good advice. By the way, Jason, you're looking sharp. Full suit and a black shirt. Crisp. Nice one. Anyway, so, yeah. Ron, you look... I want to choose my words. You look kind of crazy. And I noticed that in such a big way because the interviews I've seen of you, both in Lily Black Book and with Maria, you seem like a cool guy. Not today, sir. And I think you did warn someone on one of these interviews about, it might not look so great on the reunion. So I guess you understand how you came up looking. But anyway, the whole purpose of being human beings is that we grow. I'm hoping that a year later, because it's probably a year later, you realized your mistakes and you're keeping it moving. Because you do have something to offer once you come into who you are and you meet the person for you. So, good luck, sir. So they go into the next set, talking about the gentleman's lounge, or should I call the Gentleman Tears edition of the Gentleman's Lounge. So they're showing clips of the guys breaking down, particularly when Joel was breaking down and when, Jason had a little breakdown when he felt like everybody was saying so many nice things about me. Now, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think we have been training our men to think that men don't cry. Yes, they should. There should be some vulnerability. They should be in touch with their inner self, and us telling them to button up is not healthy. So that's great. No problem with all the tears we saw here. Healthy. In fact, they went on to talk about, the guys still emphasized the fact that there was a brotherhood and they felt comfortable being vulnerable with each other. Beautiful. And that's probably what I hope and wish that most or all men should have, a space where they feel safe, where they can feel that they can trust the person beside them and they can be themselves, because that helps them. Once you can, get in touch with your inner self, That helps you grow. Now, if you've got walls up, you don't even know who you are, talk less of somebody else knowing who you are. So if you have that space, which is why I think the whole principle of therapy, you peeling off the layers during therapy and just talking, because therapists don't download information to you. They ask you key questions for you to open up. And so if you have someone to open up to, like a circle of brothers like that people you trust, that definitely helps your growth. So no problem here. Problem I'm having is the next packet that they start with, the frick and frag. So we know it's Stacey and Chrysanthemum. So they're playing all the little clips of, frick and frag, and that did this, all the guys are complaining, they couldn't approach one because of the other. After watching this, and I did have an issue with that, just kind of mentioned it, why was it, but I call BS on this. Like, the ladies may have been, I don't know if I would call them immature. They had a little frick and frack session, they were friendly, but the truth is, and I like the way it was put right back together. 1 minute ago, you're talking about how it's great that the guys have a brotherhood and they're together and they can bond and they can talk and they can be friends, they can trust each other. Then the next session, you're now two females or two women and being criticized for putting aside the competition part and becoming friends. I won't say they were inseparable because, Stacey has children, so she don't have time to be inseparable with someone, but enough for them to really bond. It appears to me, looking at Stacey now, she falls into her motherly role, because there's a part where, when Christian had asked Andrea out, as soon as he sat down, she gave him £1. So I feel like maybe earlier, episodes back during the ball, when she had been pushing Ron, that, something about, chrysanthemum, I think maybe that's what she was doing, trying to mother the situation. So I really can't criticize them. So I don't understand where the males get off criticizing them for being good friends, but the males want to be good friends with the same person who is dating their girl. Yeah, that was really a double standard. It was hypocritical. And I hope people watching it, not just the audience, but behind the people who participated, the men, I hope they see the double standard in what they were doing. Like, and this is what we as women have been going through. The men get cheered and congratulated for the same thing the women were, they were picked on for. Two women, instead of fighting each other for the guys, they became friends and became a pact. So what, you guys were upset because you won't be able to play them against each other? Yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I'm getting irritated by this. But that's not the premise of the show. But you know what? I have less of a problem with frick and frack than I did before, because it really, whoever, the editing here is nice, because they put those two scenes back to back just to show us. And I feel like a woman did that. One of the female producers did that, put the two packets together, the brotherhood and the frick and frack thing, just to show us the double standard that exists today, where men can do one thing and be congratulated and cheered, and women do the same thing and they get called names. And we see that in everything. Strong man who's a leader is cheered and lifted up. A woman who's strong and leader, she's called a bitch. But you know what? We're not gonna let that get us down. We're gonna keep going. So they play the AJ and Alexis packet. And when I say packet, I just mean roll of clips, just to give us a reminder of how the season went. And so I think the mixer, like the very first thing, and they show, Alexis coming up. Hi, my name is, I don't remember seeing this, but I saw it today when I watched it, that, I'm Alexis Fly. Sis, don't do it anymore. Nobody over 22 should be calling themselves blah, 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 Fly. Okay, so moving on. So we know when she met up with AJ, she came a little too strong, but who am I to say it was a little too strong, because guys do the same thing, so I don't want to play into this double standard thing. But anyway, I think what made the difference is AJ wasn't feeling her the way she was feeling him. That's why there was an issue. End of story. So they play that packet, and then they play the part where, he tells her he's seriously pursuing her. And then clip the next, one is where he tells her, when he's sending her home, where he's like, I don't think I can truly be what you want me to be. I look at, we're going to go forward and I'm going to talk about certain things. There's a part here where I think Ron says something and then AJ says, well, I want you to explain why you said I was treating her badly. Wrong move. He does a bunch of stuff and don't remember what he did. So the point here is that Ron was saying is that back when he and when Ron and Alexis were still seeing each other, a part where he was talking to her, And then AJ comes and says, oh, I haven't spoken with you yet. And so he takes it, I don't know if it's Ron's house, takes it to him and says, okay, you can wait for, AJ here and talk with him. 2 hours went by and AJ never showed up. He was in the same house. And so, nephew Tommy asked him that, is that true? He said, yeah, it's true. He said, what were you doing? I was talking with the guys. I want that to sink in. He told Alexis, oh, I want to get a minute talk with you. She goes to wait for him, and he knows she's waiting for him in a room, somewhere to the side, and for 2 hours never showed up. Ron came and found her still sitting there. And he says, nobody died. Nobody had a heart attack. He didn't pass out, but he was just busy talking to the guys. If that's not a message, I don't know what is. He made the message. Oh God, that hurt for me. I hurt from hearing that. A beautiful woman like Alexis, that's what you're doing with her, playing her like she's nothing. He left her there waiting, never did show up. And his excuse, because the question at this time in this packet was, nephew Tommy was saying, how'd you go from telling her, you're the object of my pursuit, to eliminating her? And he going round and round in circles, talk about, really Ron was her number one, but Ron had been left the show. And nephew Tommy reminded him that, Ron already left. Unfortunately, I don't know, maybe in case of time, nephew Tommy never really checked AJ on his poor behavior of Alexis. He did check Ron for his language and different things, but AJ should have been checked too. Because AJ goes on to make this excuse. And I saw a pattern here. I saw both Ron and AJ make excuses for them treating Alexis poorly, blaming the other one. I know, that's just kind of sad. There's no excuse to treat anyone poorly like that. And when you treat someone poorly, you should acknowledge it and apologize. AJ never apologized. AJ didn't apologize. Ron apologized, gave a half-ass apology. Yeah, I'm offended. And I think that's offensive. Unfortunately, Alexis wasn't able to, she was still in her emotions, she goes on to defend AJ, talking about, she can see by the videos and the clips watching this season that AJ was torn between the two of them. Sis, he weren't torn. That sounds like delusion talking right now. He was not torn. He was moving like an F-boy with intent. Intently, like an intent F-boy, he was just doing whatever he wanted to do. He knew what he was doing. And it's kind of sad. Then nephew Tommy goes on to ask him, once again, okay, so how did you choose between the two of them? And he goes on to say, well, it was based on advice you gave me that who makes me light up when they walk into the room. Hence, he's talking about Kyra makes him light up when she walks into the room. No. Then they switched to Kyra. Kyra's talking about, okay, why she choose herself, and she was like, when she falls hard, when she did Jason, she's talking around in circles too, It's not a witness, nobody, you're not trying to grill a witness. I'm just I think what she was trying to this is my version. I feel she really liked Jason, but was playing, realized she had lost Jason, and then tried to, I don't know if AJ was meant to be the consolation prize, or she just trying to stay till the end, and so she was just playing the game until the end because she could. That's just my take. She really, really liked Jason, and she lost. They didn't really show that much here, but that's what I think. And then AJ, then they talk about, she mentions that yes, they've been dating. She and AJ had been dating after the show ended, but apparently, right after the show, she traveled for 2 weeks. And in that 2-week time frame, she said they spoke every day. But in that time frame, my good boy AJ was dating Alexis. And this is when I tell you people, everyone, males, females, all of us, this thing we call closure is a waste of time. You trying to have a conversation with someone because you want closure? No, don't do it. Because this is what happened. Somehow, Alexis has been caught in her feelings. She dials up AJ and talks about, were those all fake? Oh God, I'm just I'm hurting for her. She calls him up anyway to verify. So was it all fake? He didn't even say, he didn't act like he liked you anyway, so I don't know. Maybe there's something we didn't see, there's something I'm missing. So anyway, he says, no, it was real. And they start going out on dates and he starts kissing her again. He knows he doesn't want her, but he starts kissing her again. And this is what I'm saying. This closure thing, it's a trap. It means nothing, it does nothing. You need to shut the door yourself. You don't need someone's words to help you shut a door that you know you should shut. And I'm talking firm now, because not because I think it's easy, but because like when you can see it, like I think sometimes when you can see situations play out in front of you, you get more impassioned by it. And I think let us use this as an example. When you're always trying to talk to someone, an ex, about closure, don't do it. Think about Alexis, don't do it. Seeking for closure is a trap to make you lose your good sense. Alexis, why are you kissing the guy that dumped you? He dumped you. Why are you kissing him? He betrayed you, essentially. I mean, he didn't really make any, vow to you, so it's not really like a betrayal. But if he didn't want you then, what makes it different now? He didn't change his attitude. We were like an F-boy. I hate that word, but it just seems so apt. There was no reason why he should have drugged Alexis back into this mess. Turns out anyway that Alexis, maybe she knew more than she says she knew. She said she didn't know he was still seeing Kyra. But anyway, she ended up speaking with Kyra on the phone, telling her, when you're gonna jump off and you're trying to talk to the main chick and talk about, yeah, your man's been seeing me. That's what it sounded like, and that's what it looked like. And Alexis started to make you look great. So they ask, AJ, so why were you seeing Alexis and you wanted Kyra? And he's talking, well, we're not really dating. So he's still in his feelings, the fact that, Kyra exercised her option to choose and didn't choose him. He said he felt like Kyra decided to make a decision and say, I don't want you, but she wanted him in that corner wanting her. So he was trying to fight back. So once again, he didn't want Alexis, he just used her to try and prove to Kyra that he did not sit in the corner waiting for her. So anyway, nephew asked, Kyra, so Kyra, you still want to continue your stuff with him? Kyra turns and she looks in. There are a few seconds. That if you have to answer a serious question and it takes you seconds like that, no. But anyway, nephew Tommy, like the good host of a show, decides to stop the show right there. And what did we get from part one? Alexis, this dude has disrespected you. I think more than Ron. Yeah, Ron was a little glib. And I think Ron was probably irritated because he could see it happening. So Ron's liking you and he can see someone else that you like mistreating you and you don't clock that and then just kind of turn to him. You still looking at AJ and still like AJ. So yeah, so Alexis was, mistreated and maltreated by both guys. More so AJ than Ron. We're gonna see, they've got like little clips from the second part. But the first part really kind of delved into the Kyra, Alexis, AJ issue. So we still have some meat to talk about next week. But guys, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next week on the conclusion. Hopefully they can close some doors because it still kind of reminds us about real dating. So I want you ladies to look. This is because I've said this before, but I've never had such a great example for you always want to talk to the ex or someone who offended you because you want closure. Don't do it. Just think of Alexis and don't do it. Anyway, guys, wonderful talking with you guys, and I'll see you later. Lola, over and out.